Hola amigos! My name is Joy Kelly from HowJoyful, and today I'm going to share with you how I made this door mural using a projector and some chalk. Now, one disclosure that I want to do is that for this project I am using a projector that I've had for a few years now. I've used it on a lot of projects. We use it for movie nights, so it's something that I've had for a while. I know that this tool is not just laying around everyone's houses, so if you want to do something similar to this and you don't have a projector, I have two options, which one is like a little projector that's a lot more accessible. It doesn't project as big, but it's still pretty good. I still use it. I'm gonna link it down below. And the other option is to just do it manually. And for that, I have a blog post that I'm also gonna link below. So if you don't have a projector, don't worry. You can figure out that step with a different tool. And the rest of the video still applies because I'm just gonna show you all the tips that I'm using to create a little bit more of depth. Also, if you want to use this design on something else, I'm gonna have the SVG file in my Letterboard. If you want to get access to the Letterboard and access all of my freebies, you can subscribe to my newsletter and that will give you the secret password. Now let's get into it. And the secret sauce of this project is the projector. I have an LFS that is a little bit older. I'm gonna link to the newest version down below, but this thing is a workhorse. I love it. And also the special cable that you're gonna use to connect to your iPhone or tablet. For the chalk, I love the Crayola Anti-Dust for the artwork, and then I use regular chalk to season my door. To add some special details, I love to use just some regular Crayola color chalk. Also not 100% necessary, but super nice to have is a microfiber cloth so you can clean your hands while you're working. And if you don't like to touch chalk, chalk holders are the best. And don't forget about a big sharpener. For little details, we're gonna use Q-tips and also a felt eraser. Don't mind all the bite marks on mine. My dog thought that it was a chew toy. And if you wanna add a little bit more of a dramatic effect, erasers are your best friends. So the very first thing that I did was to take a picture of the area that I wanted to cover. In my case, is a door that has a layer of chalk paint. If you want to read more about how I covered that, I'm gonna link to that blog post down below. After I had the picture, I put it on my iPad, pulled it up on Procreate, and just started sketching. And once I was happy with how the artwork looked, I just deactivated the background layer and I had my artwork ready for exporting. Now in Procreate, if you go to the wrench, you have the option to resize your canvas, but I just save it as it was. In my case, I'm gonna export it from my iPad to my phone because the cable that I have is a lightning cable and I have the iPad Pro that uses the USB-C port to charge. And since I don't want to get a new cable, I'm just gonna export it to my phone and project it from there. Once I was happy with the size and the location, I just saved it and I airdropped it to my phone. Once I had the image in my phone, I connected the projector with the cable. Just make sure that when you plug the cable into your projector, you put both of the cables out, because as I'm showing here, I'm putting only the HDMI, but I have to put both of them. Once the projector is connected to the phone, you can just use the dials and the lens to move back and forth so you can make the image bigger or smaller. One important thing that I didn't do at first was that this cable, it has a USB connection and a HDMI connection. You have to plug both of them in. There's the image right there. I move the projector a little bit farther back so that I could have the image bigger, and I center exactly where I wanted in the door. I made sure that my phone, the image was tilted so it was showing as wide as possible, and we are ready to turn the lights off and start sketching. Before that, we need to season the door because right now I washed it. I need to take that garland off and I'm gonna season it so it's all ready for a light outline, and then we can start lettering on it. So as I mentioned, I really like a regular chalk, not the dust-free chalk for seasoning, because this one gets as much chalk as possible in the surface, and I like grabbing 2 or 3 little pieces like this, and I'm gonna dab all over the surface. Okay, and after you're done rubbing the chalk, I'm just gonna grab my eraser and I'm gonna tap it and smear it around. Now we are ready to turn the lights off, and I'm gonna project the image again, and I'm gonna just very lightly trace it. And to do that, I'm gonna use the dust-free chalk from Crayola, but the tip is that you're gonna sharpen the chalk. And this way we're gonna have like a super thin and precise line. I'm just gonna go on the edges of my piece, make sure that I have all the details in there. That is way better. So with this one, I'm gonna project the image now, and I'm gonna go super light and just make an outline of the image. So now it's perfectly laid, and I am going to show you how to fill it up, how to make a little bit of shadows and make it a little bit more interesting. When you have little pieces like this, I just go over with the eraser and clean them up. That's the beauty of chalk, since it's just dust basically. You can move it around and play and fix it. So my very first step to add some depth into your piece is to add shadows. And to do so, I like to do it, especially when it's a piece this big. When it's something very small, I do it with a Q-tip, or sometimes with a toothpick with a little bit of napkin on the top, so you can remove all of the chalk from that surface. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see, but what I am doing is removing all of the chalk from that side to create a little bit of depth. And we're gonna do it on all the right side of our letters. So the idea is to make it look so that the light source comes from the left, and we're casting a shadow on the right side of our letters. And of course, you're gonna have some areas where you have a thicker layer of background chalk, and that's gonna be a little bit more dramatic, like in this little corner. In some other areas, like on the top, it doesn't look like I had too much chalk dust in the surface, so it's gonna be a little bit less dramatic, but you still can see it. And we're gonna add another line over there just to make it a little bit more dramatic, so I'm gonna show you how to do that next. I'm gonna finish doing the whole piece with a little bit of a drop shadow. Another tip that I wanted to give you is that if you're working on a very small scale, the best way to add drop shadows is with an eraser. So sometimes I use the end of a pencil. So this little eraser, you can use something like this Tombow. It's very fine, You can use a regular eraser. My favorite is a Pentel. It's like a 3-point eraser. I'm gonna put the image right here because my boys lost it, so I need to order a new one. Now a little experiment that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna use the color chalk. This one's right here. And I'm gonna use just the green. So I found a way to add more depth that I really liked. And for this, I'm gonna use the light green chalk, and I'm gonna show you guys. I'm just gonna do a line right on the edge of that shadow. And then I'm just gonna go with my finger and I'm gonna smear to this side. And of course, if you mess up and you smudge something that you're not supposed to, it's super easy to just grab a Q-tip and clean it up. And I just love how it is so much more dramatic. So I'm gonna do this all over my piece. So in order to give the letters a little bit more volume, what I like to do is to grab a Q-tip, and I like to give a few passes on the bottom of the letters. And if you wanna, you can do it on the top or in the bottom, but the trick is that it has to be in the same side all the time. So like for this one's, I'm just gonna do it on the bottom. We're almost playing as if a little bit of light is casted, like a little bit of a reflection on this. Then what I do is just like I go a little bit over with my finger and wipe it a little bit more. So if you, by mistake, erase too much of the dust, it's super easy to just go over and retouch it. Now the last step that I want to do, especially for this one, is that I want to add a little bit more texture to the back side. So I think I'm just going to do some lines, and then I'm just going to wipe the sides so it looks kind of like flare. I don't have much of the green left. So now I'm just going to go and smudge it with my fingers and finish the piece up. Have a tiny little bit more of that green, and I'm gonna do some lines, and I think I'm just gonna call it. I am calling it. And if you're curious to see how the rest of the room looks like once I'm done, I'm gonna link it below once that video is published, so check it out later. So now I'm just gonna show you how this looks like in a close-up. I hope you liked today's video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more craft, lettering, and calligraphy videos coming your way. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.
Well, can we record with you?
You are recording with me. Just say hi.
Yeah. Hi guys. I called in.
It means no?
No, we're ready.